If I could ask everybody to please breathe in. Everybody, listen up.
Good to see you, Frank.
Turns out they turn out. Look at you guys. 3 days notice.
That's because of the great chairwoman.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll take that. Let me tell you, Franklin County, we're in a blue county. You all know that. The quality of candidates we had this time was better than any other.
Yes, thank you.
Good people, and it was hard to lose those seats here. However, what I want you to know that our turnout was so successful. We went up 3 points for President Trump. The #1 urban county, Cuyahoga had 2, and Southern we exceeded the numbers that we were estimated to get for issue 1. So if you guys don't realize what bullet we dodged with that one, that was huge. That was a great, great victory for us. And then we were 2 points higher than we thought we could do for Senator Moreno. So thank you. We would have got the 100% that he asked for. But at least I don't have to wear an Uncle Sam suit that he told me I had to do. So I know you're here to hear from him, and I'm going to introduce our next U.S. Senator.
Thank you, everybody. Mayor, thank you. We're spending this week and next week driving all over the state just to say thank you. You know, there's so many times that, politicians come out and say, I want your vote, I want money, I want week, and next week is just about very simple. Thank you. Thank you so much, because look, nobody wins a United States Senate seat against a 50-year politician without having a lot of friends. And I wish I could properly thank you, because so many of you went out there and knocked thousands of doors. You passed out literature. You sat at the early voting center and had one-on-one conversations. If you wonder, how did we win? It wasn't my victory. It was our victory together as a collective team. So thank you. The other thing I want to say is, look, we didn't win Franklin County, and if you saw my victory speech, I'll repeat it again. Look, I view that as my failure. My failure. It's not your failure. Because if we didn't win Franklin County, it means that the people here did not see in me a candidate that was here to advocate for them. So what I'm going to work my tail off over the next 6 years to change the minds of the people who didn't think that we would advocate for them, and work really, really hard. Because the reality is, this is not a Republican movement any longer. This is an American movement. We're going to bring the country together. So beyond thank you, I'll give you kind of some, what have you been up to since Election Day? So obviously, spent a couple days returning the 7,552 text messages that I got. Luis, thanks you for those, by the way. That was just Luis. But no, look, one of the things that I pride myself on is responding to everybody personally, so we did that. It did take 4 or 5 days. I promised my wife we'd go on a little trip, so we did. Now, in the meantime, David DeStefano is here somewhere. By the way, round of applause for him. Thank you. So you'll appreciate this. My wife says, I want to go to the beach and just hang out. So she went and read some novel about some tragedy from 1500. And then David hands me a 200-page book on the ins and outs of the United States Senate that I have to get read by Tuesday. So that was my fun beach activity. Right, so we did that, called the Senate Owner's Manual. Then we got right to work. Got to DC on Monday after Election Day. We had a dinner with the what's called the Steering Committee, which is the most conservative Republicans. They have a group that they meet and talk about issues. We then spent all day Tuesday and most of Wednesday morning on the issue of who's going to be our leader. And unfortunately, it's like anything else, we had 3 really good candidates, 3 first-round draft picks. We actually had 3 votes. The media only reported 2. That's not true. So in the first vote, obviously Rick Scott dropped off and got the least number of votes. And the second vote, John Thune won. But in the third vote, Senator Cornyn stood up and said, hey, let's get rid of all the votes and let's vote to unanimously vote for John Thune. And that, I tell you and share that story with you because that's the sentiment in DC right now. The sentiment among myself and my 52 colleagues is that the American people have spoken clearly. They want change. They want a new direction. And they understand that it's President Trump and his agenda that won. And so we're fully united around getting that done. And Senator Thune came out 3 or 4 times here in Ohio with me. Super excited to have him as majority leader. So we did that on Wednesday. It was kind of surreal think about this for a second. Kid born in Columbia, South America, is sitting in this old Senate chamber in the United States Capitol, where Lincoln addressed Congress during the Civil War, voting for the leader of the Republican Party in the Senate. It was an unbelievable moment. All 53 of us were there, including Senator J.D. Vance. So it's pretty surreal moment to be able to do that. The weight of the job has definitely hit me. One of the things that we're going to do when we build our Senate staff is remind everybody, this isn't just a job we go to work. Like you're holding this office for the people who come in front of you and honoring it for the people who came before you. So after Wednesday, we then got to work with orientation, and I'll say this, I went to orientation with Adam Schiff and Ruben Gallego.
Oh my.
Oh dear God.
Wow.
Oh dear no.
Combat pay. All right, that experience. Ay, is all I'm going to say. But 6 Republican freshmen, 6 Democrat freshmen. So we spent a few days together again learning the Senate. We then started, of course, our thank you tour on Monday. Bridget's up in Cleveland on babysitting duty. She'll join me next week. And look, Franklin County, you guys really busted your chops for me. Again, really, really appreciate it. So where are we now? And let me this is the message. I just had a press conference. We're going to do that with the Ohio media every 2 weeks. Here's what I said to them, I'll say to all of you. We have a moment right now. And let's not screw this moment up. What's that moment? That we stay hyper focused and united. It starts with number one priority. Number one priority. We will confirm every single one of President Trump's nominations.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
If you get distracted, we say, oh, we don't like that person, we don't like that person. You know, there's a person that came on the news a little bit ago and said she didn't like Tulsi Gabbard and blah, blah, blah. You know what my point of view is? If you don't like the cabinet picks, you know what you should do? Run for president, win, and then pick your own damn cabinet.
That's right.
So, look, we're going to get President Trump's cabinet. So what's going to happen is January 3rd, I get sworn in. I become the junior senator of Ohio. J.D. Vance becomes the senior senator of Ohio.
Oh, neat.
We then serve together for about 2 weeks. And then J.D. resigns. There'll be a new appointment from Governor DeWine that will be the junior senator. And then on January 20th, President Trump, become the senior senator, President Trump gets inaugurated. Now, this is my point of view what should happen. The minute the inauguration speech is over, you'll see 100 senators go into the United States Capitol, and we're going to stay there and confirm every nomination, whether it means that we stay 24/7 for 3 weeks, so that President Trump, by no later than March 1st, has his entire cabinet, every single person. And no senator should leave Washington, D.C. or that building until that job is done. We are in a very tight, short window. We have 2 years to show not only Republicans who brave days, hot days, knocking doors, sweated out there, making certain you got people to the polls. We owe it to all of you to deliver the agenda we promised you. And that agenda, let me be clear, is an agenda of change. So when you see these cabinet nominations, and I hear people say, well, these aren't traditional picks. Yes, exactly. They're not traditional picks. They're not traditional picks. Not what we voted for. We voted for non-traditional picks. We voted for people like Pete Hegseth, that's going to go to the Department of Defense and clean out all this woke nonsense out of our military. Also going to make sure, by the way, that we don't spend $20 million missiles to shoot down $200 drones. right? That we have a defense industry that's nimble and agile and forward-thinking, that we cut waste out of our government. And look, despite what the media may think, we are absolutely going to fulfill our promise to have a secure border, and we will 100% unequivocally deport any human being who's in this country illegally. Period. The days of Republicans making a promise and an election day reverting back to the same old is over. Business as usual in DC is no longer going to be tolerated. And I hope that any Republican out there, whether you're in Congress or in the Senate, you hear this message clearly. Stay focused and stay united. We made promises to every single person here. By the way, we're gonna welcome immigrants to this country. We have lots of them here. We're gonna welcome them with open arms, on our terms, in an orderly fashion and legally. So that's what we're going to do. And then when it comes to energy, we're going to make certain this country is an energy powerhouse, an energy superpower.
Yeah.
That's what I'll end with this. There's a lot of speculation about who replaces JD. Let me just say this. It's a vote of one person. It's Governor DeWine, and I absolutely have the confidence that he'll make the right decision. But here's what I'll say this. Whoever he picks has got to be somebody that we don't have a messy primary, that can get through a primary, that can get through a general, that knows how to raise money, knows how to work hard. Because we got a lot of stuff to do. We cannot get distracted with another campaign. Look, it's supposed to work like sports, right? We had a tough primary in 22, a tough primary in 24. We are owed a bye week. All right, we are owed a bye week. Let's have a light duty election in 26. Because we have a lot of work to do. But look, what I'm doing now is building a team. You're allowed to have as many people as you want under a specific budget. So what I've decided to do is we're going to have a much skinnier DC operation than traditionally, and we're going to have a much heavier Ohio state presence. Because for me, top priority is constituent services. If you need something from the VA, you're going to call my office. You're going to feel like you called a private sector business that responds to you. If you're somebody who's interested in working your tail off and having a constituent services operation, or you know somebody that wants to do that, David at BernieMoreno.com. You send him that resume. We're building that team now. This is the most important thing we're doing. And this is going to be hard work. We're going to have people who are going to go in there and put the effort in. So about 20 people in a state operation, about 15 people in DC. We're normally allowed up to 70 people. We're going to have half the number of staff, but we're going to expect people to work really, really, really hard. We hired a chief of staff already, a deputy chief of staff in DC. We're really excited about the team we're building. So just know we're going to work really hard. My plan is to be in DC 3 weeks a month, Monday to Friday, weekends in Ohio, and then 1 full week in Ohio. When I'm here, I'm going to be out on the road talking to all of you. Because I'm going to make certain that when I come out and talk to you, that I'm doing the right job, the job that you expect me to do. So that's the priority. That's what we're going to be working on over the next 3 weeks. All of you will get a formal invitation, but I'm telling you right now, you're all invited to the swearing in. It's going to be in Washington, D.C. on January 3rd. You have to make your own way there. You have to have your own stay there. But you're all invited January 3rd. It's at noon on the dot. Assuming Secretary of State LaRose gives me a certificate that I won, because it's all in his hands right now. Until I get that, I'm not going into the Senate. So, but we'll get that to the Secretary of the Senate January 3rd. You guys want to know what's going to happen that day? It's going to be pretty cool. I'm hoping, because I've asked JD to do it, so we'll see if he does it. But JD will be my escort. We walk into the Senate chamber, and then JD would stand next to me, and Kamala Harris would swear me in.
Wow. All one. That's we're unburdened by what has been. Unburdened by what has
We'll
been.
do that. That happens around noon. We're going to have a little celebration over at the Museum of the Bible. If you haven't been there, it's an incredible facility. The person who runs it actually is used to be the president of Ashland University here in Ohio. We'll do that. So that's what's going on January 3rd. Now, before you email me or text me or call me, or already done that, I do not have secret tickets to the inauguration. That's on January 20th. There's a lot going on in Washington, D.C. that day. When and if we are given any kind of allocation of tickets, my guess is those are the standing tickets in the mall. Just know that we have no idea if we're going to be given any, but if we do, David at BernieMoreno.com. So we'll have that, and that'll be a great day. That'll be a great day. But look, I have never in my life, 57 years old, I have never in my life been more optimistic for the future of this country than I am right now. Yeah. We have a